Okay, let's see how this goes. Alright, so what I wanted to talk about in this quick little broadcast are things that you should know, and I may do several episodes of this. I don't want this to be too long so that people will see it, but I wanted to go over a few things that I think everyone should know, but particularly things you should know if you are just returning to the game or if you're just starting out the game. Things that you may regret not knowing later on. So, the first thing is whatever character you make, whenever you start, make a character. It does not matter what it is. Sacrifice one character slot, make one character, and never delete it. Because that character will get birthday rewards. And birthday rewards are based on they're not based on accounts, they're based on how long that character has existed. So keep one character around from the very beginning and never delete them. That's the first thing. If you just try to play for free, you get, I don't think you're eligible for birthday rewards, but the character does have an age, and it happens every year. The 9th birthday, which just happened, that is account-wide, but it's still, I believe, based on how old your oldest character is. But instead of every character getting it when they turn 9, your account gets it the first time. So make sure you make one character and just keep them forever. I fortunately kind of did this by accident, but that's the first thing. The second thing is understand that almost everything in this game is account-based. So, for example, achievements. These are all account-wide. So anything that you do for achievements, it's for your whole account. I'm just going to say that everything is account-wide. Your bank is shared among your characters. All of your gear, like almost all of the good gear anyway, is account-bound. If you take a look down at the bottom, account-bound, 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 there's like hardly, like this is soul-bound, but this is because it's not the best, because who cares about ascended underwater items? It's weird. But I'm going to go over the things that are character bound. There's not very many of them, but there are some. The number of slots you've unlocked here for different gear templates, those are character specific. The number of slots you've unlocked for inventory expansion, those are character specific. Same thing for build storage or build templates. This is account-wide, this is character-specific. And then, obviously, anything that's class-based or that is armor-type-based, it's still unlocked for your whole account, but, I mean, do you really need to have 2 of the same class? I guess some people might. So, that's really it. But keep in mind that, like, 99% of everything is account-based, and that's really good because it makes switching mains very easy. The last thing that is character-specific is story progress. So, this story progress is character-specific, but unlocking the ability to go to these is more account-based. It's kind of a middle ground, but that's something to keep in mind. If you're going to switch mains and you want story progress, you'll need to redo the story on that character, which is, I mean, a fun thing too, because the story is fantastic, but something to keep in mind. I have switched mains in this game twice, and both times I had to redo a lot of stuff, but it was through a different window, essentially, or seeing it differently. So that's that. Other things that are account-based that are really convenient is your friends list. People know you based on your account, and even if you join a group with someone, you can switch characters, and then whatever character you switch to is part of that group still. So it's account-based grouping, not character-based grouping. Same thing for guild membership. The guilds that you're in, you are in them on an account basis, and you can choose which guilds you want to be visible or interact with based on your characters. So that's something to keep in mind. The game is extremely forgiving when it comes to switching characters. It's very alt-friendly, you could say. I'm kind of a one character does everything sort of person, so that's not something that really affects me very much, but switching mains, it has had a huge impact on, because I haven't had to do any weird stuff and go redo or reacquire a lot of things. A bunch of these things that I have, they're all account bound if you look, and so I was able to just move them from one character to another. Even the bags that I have, for the most part, are account bound. It doesn't say it on there, but they are. So I would say that those are kind of the most important things that you'll want to know, because they're things that will affect you down the road in a humongous way. A couple of other things that you will want to know is stuff you should do first. Just like with almost any game, I recommend really give everything a try. You may not realize, I mean, if you know, hey, I'm a rogue, I'm a thief, that's just what I do, well then heck, play a rogue or a thief and be yourself. If you know you love to play a warrior, that's fine. But if you're even a little bit uncertain of exactly what you want to or like to play, then please try everything. You make that one character slot that is your oldest character. It's like I call it a legacy character. And then you have another slot that you use to try out every class. And so the way that you do that is you just make a new character, and if you've got a friend to help you, you can actually do this a little quicker, but I'm going to tell you how to do it by yourself. You make a new character, you go through the tutorial, which takes literally all of 5 minutes, and then as soon as you're out of there, you click this button, and then you click Enter PvP Lobby. And this is going to take us to the PvP lobby, because PvP is normalized in this game. There is no PvP-specific gear. There's rewards that give you appearances and other stuff that you can get from PvP, but there's no gear that only works better in PvP. So instead, what you have is a PvP build. And so you choose, here's different stat combinations that you can choose to use. And we'll go over what all the stats mean in another video, because that's a whole video by itself. But you pick that, you pick all of your gear and your setup, and that's it. That's your PvP stats. You have the same stat budget as every other person, so it is equal across the board in structured PvP. But what this gives you is access to everything your class has. You can go over here. Where'd that guy go? Way over here, isn't he? Oh, he's up there. They're up here. Let's head over here. You can go over here, and you can see this weaponsmith guy. Evan Fleshgore, which is kind of a gross name. But you can buy any weapon, and these are crappy weapons, but it doesn't matter because your stats are based on your PvP build. So you can try out any weapon that your class can use, and you can also use any specializations your class has access to, only while you're here in the PvP lobby. And so then you can head over here to the combat training waypoint, and there's a bunch of target dummies. They're called target golems in Guild Wars 2. And there's one of every class of these NPCs that you can fight and show people how quickly you can just absolutely devastate them. So you can see how good a build is. How good is it defensively? And you can try all of it out and see what you like and see how a class plays. So you make a character, you go through 5 minutes of introduction, and then you just go here to the PvP lobby and just try everything. See what you like, see how it is, and you can work your way through the different classes and the different races and see them at their full potential and get a really good idea for how they work and what you like. I strongly recommend doing this because you may not know what you like to play, and each of the different specializations, or even the elite specializations, which we'll explain in another video, those change how the class works in sometimes very dramatic ways. So it's a really smart idea to try everything out so that you know what you like. Let's take care of this elementalist here. Now, these NPCs that you're fighting against, once you know the particular tricks that each of them have, they can become a little trivial to fight. The other thing to consider is that I tend to run rather defensive builds. But you'll get the hang of it. I think the Necromancer is the toughest one because he's just really hard to finish off. But other people are going to be way better at this than me. I would consider myself average in almost every respect, except for maybe obscure game knowledge. And that's not even lore, it's just how the game works. So, try out every character that you can that is even slightly interesting to you, and then figure out what you want to do, because you're going to want to get story progress done on that character so that you can move through and get some rewards through the story. There's a lot of really good things. And so that brings me to, I think, the final thing I'm going to talk about in this particular video is what you should do first. Once you figure out what you want to play and you know what you like, then my suggestion is as soon as you can. And if you've got a third character slot that you can do this with, great. If you have a boost, then that's something to consider. But as soon as you reasonably can, and don't use a boost if you can help it, go through the initial personal story, and then this here will have you go through a history of Season 1, which was meant to be a little different than it has ended up, and that's fine. You don't actually play through it, you just kind of read the background of it, but you need that to understand Season 2. But really, once you're done with my story, your character is level 80. I would recommend at that point you do two things. Go and start Path of Fire. Now, this might seem weird. This is the second expansion. There's a lot of story in between that. Do this, rush through everything, ignore it completely, but start this until you get a Raptor mount, because it happens very early on in the Path of Fire story, and this will make everything else you do just so much more convenient. If you're a returning player and you've got a bunch of like level up tomes or something, then you can boost a character up to 80 with those, go get the Raptor on that character, it gives it to your whole account, and then you can do your thing with your main character from level 1. And even if you make a new character, level 1, you can use the Raptor straight away as soon as you obtain it. The other thing that you might consider doing is starting Heart of Thorns and doing the very beginning until you get a glider, because glider is also extremely useful in getting you around places, because it can save you from certain death by fall damage very well. So those would be the only things I would suggest doing anachronistically. But keep in mind that you can pretty much ignore what's going on in the story, so you don't get any weird spoilers, or it doesn't seem to make sense. You just kind of want to get those two things. It'll make everything else a lot easier. So to recap, make one character and keep that character, never get rid of them, whatever. That's a good candidate character to go and grab your Raptor and your glider if you have the means to get them leveled up quickly. And then try out everything, find out what you like, and then once you do, just go through the story, enjoy it, make decisions. There are no choices you make at the beginning of your character that have any lasting effect on that character's destiny, except for two things. What class are they, and what race are they? Those are the only two things you can never change about a character. Everything about how they look, you can change. You can go and replay story and see different options and whatnot. There's options for that, but any of the choices you make are more of this is the words that are written down in the recap. It doesn't hugely change the story in any meaningful way, which in my opinion is just fine, because the story is really good even if it's not trying to give you the illusion of world-changing decisions. So those are the things that I strongly recommend for people just barely starting out in the game. I hope that helps. I'll be talking a lot more about it because there is so much to go over in this game, and that's like one of the best and worst things about it is there's so much to get into, and it is not just spelled out for you so much. Even with guides and stuff on the internet, there's still a lot of discovery that you get to do. So if there are particular things you want me to cover sooner, or to make sure I remember to cover them, then please leave a comment and I will be happy to talk about that. Otherwise, we'll just see what comes out